Hey Geminis, hoping that all is well today. Welcome to the channel if you're new. And if you're one of my amazing subscribers, thank you for being here. And if you're not, go ahead, hit the button. It's free. Get your energy moving throughout the channel. Please note these are general messages. They will not resonate for everybody. So just take what does, leave the rest. Even if it doesn't resonate, you can always find something useful in what the cards are saying. Or perhaps it's something that Spirit is trying to alert you to, or a piece that maybe we haven't been conscious of that we can look at. Also, you can check your moon, rising, and Venus sign placements and look at the videos for those, as those may resonate more for you. Gemini, let's see what's going on for you guys. Could have been something that's happened in the past, could be happening now, could be something in the future. Time is fluid. First card out the gate. Okay. So the Union card here is right at the center, and it's in reverse. So there could be a disconnect somewhere between you and someone else, or perhaps even yourself, right? So maybe something's out of alignment between mind, body, and soul, which happens all of the time, especially when we're trying to survive in such a busy environment all of the time. It's like go, and it can get exhausting trying to keep up, and it's hard to balance things out because we have to draw on different aspects of ourselves for survival. So the first thing you have here is the Ten of Air, which is also akin to the Ten of Swords in the regular tarot deck. So something is coming to an ending, but yet it's more of a mental piece. So whether that be an ending to negative thoughts or negative perceptions, there is definitely an end, which is, I feel, a good thing at this point in time. It speaks of individuation and self-actualization, liberation, altered perceptions, or new paradigms, maybe even something that's a great mystery or a paradox and potential, which is interesting too, because yesterday I was looking at a few things online, and as much as I would see it as negative, the weird thing is that even if their intent is negative, they're still doing something positive. Does that make sense? So there's that paradox. It's like somebody who has power, and they may lie, they may deceive, but yet they're out there raising money in charities and such like that. So it forces a person to question, like, does the fact that they lie make them bad if they are actually bringing all this money to help others out? Like, it was just a mind trip, if you will. And so anyway, this speaks of a time of independence and saying goodbye to a public persona, being no longer bound by another's opinion and walking one's own path, and that humans are paradoxical by nature. This card also speaks to seeing and knowing your potential, and that the self is whole. And maybe this is speaking to the time for growing up and having to leave home. But the process basically leads to becoming oneself and to stepping away from external forces that we believe define us, and to becoming an independent being who recognizes and embraces their own uniqueness and individuality. It's about removing a mask that we present to the public so that we are liked and respected and accepted, and the face that we wear so we fit in and belong. No longer are our public faces and private life very different. And this is true. Like, it's coming into this era now where people, they put their private life out there so much, but as well it overlaps with their public, and I think that that's where the disconnect comes in. Yet there's that paradox that we were just talking about. So basically what we present to the world, if it's not like, then so be it, right? And if it makes us look like a black sheep, for example, in a flock of white sheep, then so be it. We would rather be honest and accepted by the few than to be what family or society expects. And this is another piece that I was thinking about, is that popularity or following the crowds in terms of what we believe or what we support continues to perpetuate problems within society. And the reason for that is because, you know, everyone's doing the same thing. So the individual who steps out is actually the light. And do you see how bright this card is? And the light for change. Okay? So individuation is being who we are. It's about being who we're meant to be, and as opposed to being a person society tells us that we should be, and breaking free from caring about what people think of us, because we love who we are and what we do with our life. We're free, we're liberated, and because we're not bound by others' opinions of us or actions, the constraints of society, or the impediments of our past. So that could be the ending too, is letting go of something from the past. Maybe recently you've come to a point where if somebody's been holding you hostage for, say, a mistake that you've made in the past, you're no longer accepting that because you know that you've grown, right? And if they can't let it go, then that's because they don't want to change and grow themselves and adopt a place of forgiveness, right? Like for them, they need to grow in terms of accepting that people change. So who they are in one moment may not be who they are in the next, right? It's also part of psychology. Wow, this is pretty deep. It's about integrating consciousness and unconscious, soul and shadow, the masculine and feminine, and creating a whole where the self resides at the center. So this again here speaks about the union and where there was some kind of disconnect. So whether this is somebody that you were dealing with or whether this was you, this will require some reflection, of course, to see where it lies and what spirit is trying to say here. But something wasn't aligning. So either it be mind, body, soul, or who someone's higher self is versus their ego. They weren't showing up in a consistent pattern, I'm feeling. Okay? So it could represent one who allows others' thoughts and opinions to define and shape them, and instead of moving forward and becoming an independent being, they've allowed others to determine their path and shape their reality. And maybe that's what you were dealing with. Maybe you were dealing with somebody who wasn't so firm in their standing or firm in their belief systems or firm in their values, and maybe that's what made it hard. But then paradoxically, we also have to understand that people are in the process of change all of the time. So this is where it gets interesting. Is it good or is it bad? And what is it that we're wanting? So the Union card is one of the major arcanas in this deck. And because it's showing up upside down, something has been out of order. The good news here is that it's coming to an end, whatever that was. But the key phrases that are associated with this are unity and wholeness, or harmony arises when we're in alignment, or having unlimited potential, which this card also speaks to, a path that marries science and spirituality, so that's another big piece. Duality creates separation, the marriage of body and mind soul, all being connected, complete self-acceptance. It asks that one not dominate or be submissive, and at the center is the void, and that also you're a temple, okay? So worship within. Fear and need, cornerstones of dependency, okay? So maybe you dealt with somebody, or maybe you were dependent on somebody because of a fear and a need. But it represents our relationship as well with ourselves and our relationship with the world around us. So it talks about the harmony that arises when we're in alignment within, and that should be usually the priority, right? And with both the seen and unseen worlds around us. And to achieve this centered state is our fifth reason for being. So who am I? What is my purpose? Why am I here? Self-inquiry It puts our feet upon the path to wholeness. It's a part of our life quest. And only in asking these questions and seeking the answers do we actually become whole. It's a journey that manifests in self-discovery. So we come into the world innocent and pure, and our soul, literally in the womb, right, is still one with the source of all, the void, the cosmic womb, from which all came to be and will return. Our soul remembers that connection, and the soul remembers its unlimited potential. It remembers that it is whole and divine. And with this knowledge, of course, and all that experience before, and taking our first breath in this life, resides within our our unconscious minds, right? So it's where it could motivate and guide us. But something here has been out of alignment, and because of such, it seemed to have led to an ending. So the good news is if this is somebody else that you were dealing with, then they might be out of alignment and they need the time to grow. Further, it looks as though you've got some earth energy that'll be coming in the near future. And that earth energy will be a grounding force, which is good. This is the Four of Pentacles. So this is about being, I guess not being an extreme in how we do things. So it's like, for example, if you're dealing with money and you're wanting to save, then you don't, for example, put some money away and then go because you're mad at the fact that you have to save and then dump $200 on something, right? Like, it's that kind of thing. So it's like looking at the extremes of something, and I really feel that that ties into place here. Somebody that you could have been dealing with or yourself were approaching situations in an extreme manner. So this speaks of slow and steady progress and taking one step at a time. And that fear and doubt, slow forward momentum and not faltering. It talks about resting and recharging and a good outcome ahead. And not making hasty decisions and watching for careless errors. So this is something that when it appears, it's a happy and rewarding outcome that's close at hand. But it also says that the key to completing large or long-term projects is in making slow and steady progress. So the key is to put one brick on top of the other, to persevere and continue to build, even when you feel like you want to give up. It's to remain stoic and positive in the face of hardship, knowing that experiencing frustration, fear, and doubt will only serve to weigh you down and slow your momentum. You've made real and tangible progress back here, which is what this card is saying. And it says, do not falter now. You're close to achieving a goal or manifesting the outcome that you desire most. And the Four of Earth encourages not giving up, even if wariness dogs your every move. It talks about looking back at how far you've come and celebrating what you have achieved. And then to look forward and see that you only have a few things left to accomplish. And to take heart, to take a moment to rest and recharge, and then continue forward with the same level of dedication. The caveat here is that tedium and monotony often instill a desire to rush. So it says, do not allow that desire to be free to move on to new ventures to result in careless errors or prevent you from completing a task or resolving an issue that you have before you. So you might find yourself free of boredom and impatience only to feel the weightier burden of guilt and regret, right? So whether it be a matter that affects the home and heart or one that affects your career, don't allow impatience or frustration to cloud the judgment and lead to hasty decisions. The shadow Four of Earth cautions us against embracing a belief that greener pastures are waiting if we choose to walk away. In whatever the circumstances that you're facing, They're not. Okay? So that could make some good sense here about why there needs to be an ending in terms of this union disconnect. We need somebody, maybe even around you or yourself, needs to look at whether or not they are, how do I put this? It's like, I'm trying to find the words, help me out here, Spirit. It's like they need to look at whether or not their thoughts are aligned with their desires and true self and want. So for example, if it's love and a long-lasting partnership that one wants, then they need to do the steps and continue to persevere even through disappointments, instead of saying, oh, hey, you know what, if this doesn't work, I can just walk away like that. Well, if that be the case, then do you ever find that long-term stability that you're looking for, right? Or say you want a career, but every little thing in the job makes you angry. And so you just say, oh, I can always get another job, and you just walk out. But yet your desire is to find some stability. Do you see what I'm saying? So there's some kind of disconnect here, either with yourself or someone that you're dealing with. But the good news is that because this is a 10, someone's coming out of that. And there's going to be this energy that's coming in for you about persevering and taking things one step at a time. And also that opportunity to self-reflect of where we might be sabotaging our own wants and needs. Now again, if some of this makes some sense to you in terms of someone else you're dealing with and they're open to it, feel free to send this reading to them, right? Give them some food for thought. But also then, don't be upset if they don't take it on board, because still a lot of people are operating in this mind frame of survival. And as they try to survive every day, they're not growing, right? And they stay stuck. So they don't self-reflect. And does that mean there's something wrong with you? No, it just means that you're meeting somebody where they're at and accepting that they're not willing to grow at this point in time. So perhaps an ending is near. So here we have this Three of Wands coming out, and the Three of Wands speaks to expansion and always looking for something more, okay? So maybe you deal with somebody and you're in a relationship, and if you have a disagreement, the first thing their first go-to is, I'm out, because they always think there's something better. But yet they're deceiving themselves, because what they really want is a relationship that's long-term. But relationships come with both sides of the equation, being good times and bad times. So it's about weathering the storm through both, right? So this comes from a need of wanting to move on, wanting to always keep an eye open about what's coming next, what's next. Or grass is always greener, but there it is. That's forming a lack of stability in one's life. And it's also perpetuating a cycle of instability, because when we accept instability, or when we choose not to be dedicated to something, we continue to attract situations that will be temporary. So really, it's about being truthful with oneself, okay? And it's about fairness, because here's justice. So fairness, truth, honesty, a balanced perspective, being balanced on both sides of the sword, really sitting down and figuring out what one wants, and then actually taking those steps to make it happen, as opposed to only accepting what one wants. That's not the reality of life. It's like what they call malignant optimism. Those who don't focus on negative are omitting the reality that sometimes life hurts, and that we need to feel these negative emotions. I used to be like that, where I wouldn't feel something negative because I was always taught, oh, always be positive. But then it comes back to haunt you eventually, and then things become out of alignment, because your soul is saying there's something we got to look at here, because there's something also that we always grow from in terms of negativity. So anyways, this whole reading here speaks about either a relationship falling apart or ending. Or the reason why, if you're wondering, is because there's a disconnect between what somebody wants and what they're willing to dedicate to a situation. Or for example, a career. Your boss may offer you everything to get you in the door, and then the second you get in the door, they pull the rug out and you're working many hours overtime without being paid for it. That sort of thing. A disconnect in what someone thinks and does and feels. Okay? So this is good. This is something to become consciously aware of. And if it's somebody that you're dealing with, at least then you can understand where they're at and know that right now they're not going to change. And this is not a reflection on you, but it's unstable. And if it's stability that you're wanting, unfortunately, this is not the individual. And despite everyone growing, that's if the person chooses to, whoever you're dealing with. Some are growing, some choose to stay stuck. So I need to kind of correct myself from earlier where I say we grow every day. So this card reflects protection, freedom, and success. It won't be quick or easy, there we go, but you will succeed and you are protected along the way. Free yourself of past doubts, fears, and guilts. Let go of fixed expectations, right? Be flexible, adaptable, and open to new avenues and ideas. A higher power is trying to guide you. So this is exactly, thank you Spirit for the confirmation, exactly what I'm talking about. No matter what fears and doubts that our minds may throw into our path because we're just afraid that we're not going to get an outcome that we want. For example, if somebody just isn't perfect, then we walk away. No, that's not saying that the relationship or the situation is a complete throw it out situation. It's actually, let's take some time and work through it. And it's not quick or easy. It's never quick or easy, is it? But you are going to succeed. In whatever this situation is, you're going to succeed. Just let go of fixed expectations. Be flexible, adaptable. Meaning, if something doesn't show up as perfect, it doesn't mean run away and go look for something better immediately. It means try to work things through. But if you've been through that piece of it already and it's not working, then you'd be open to these new avenues and ideas. Okay? So I hope this makes sense. I'm trying to get more in depth in the readings and move towards our higher consciousness and the change that's taking place right now in the age of Aquarius. So I know these may be a little bit more intense as opposed to your simple readings of, oh, this person cheated, so, no. I want to bring you some things to ponder and messages that you can think over. So let me know in the comments what you think, or if anything stood out particularly to you. And I'm sending you guys so much love. And just know that you're good, okay? And that all is this process. Love you so much. Bye, gems.